Happy Monday, degenerate gamblers. Welcome back to the Die Hard MMA podcast. And we're talking UFC Atlanta this week. We actually have a named card. It is not UFC Vegas 1207. We're actually going on the road for a non-pay-per-view event. How about that? Woo, baby. Welcome into the show, everybody. How are you all doing? What is going on? Air Dog, my guy, half the battle already sneaking in here in the chat. We've got Dream in the house. Ethan Hershey saying Cody, Brundage, fight week or death week, whichever way you want to look at it. Absolutely, absolutely. We have got Stu, Lowry, Cohen, Delusi? How do I say that? Cohen, I am so sorry. I butchered your name there, buddy. Matt in the house. What's going on? We've got J. Las V Punchlines and Plot Twist podcast. What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for being here. George Ray Pro in the house as well. Smash that like button for me, guys, if you have not done that already. We've got a full card to break down. We've got a lot of stuff to get into, but first and foremost, I have to address the elephant in the room. No baby blues. No baby blues for me today, and a really, really rough week for your bantamweight king, because my goodness, I went 0-2 on the big ones, you guys, and I just need a minute. I've been waiting so long for Patchy Mix to make his UFC debut, and I've said so many things, and I've talked so much trash, and it finally happens. Now, I want to go ahead and say that I think the short notice did make somewhat of a difference. 3 weeks was not enough to prepare for a fighter like Mario Bautista. But at the end of the day, Mario Bautista was the better man. Patchy Mix looked like he was moving in molasses, especially with having been Bellator champion, 20-plus fight veteran. I didn't think the bright lights would be an issue. It looked like they were. I mean, in round one, he didn't have much of a game plan. I know he couldn't really catch Mario. I still expected he would at least try to grapple more than he did. It was a rough fight. I am not ready to just sell on Patchy Mix. Give him some time. Now that he's in the UFC, give him a full training camp, give him a real opponent that he's got time to prep for. I think we'll see the best of him is yet to come, but not a good outlook. And I must say, boy, was I wrong. He is not the best bantamweight on planet Earth. I mean, even if he bounces back, even if he goes on like a 4-fight UFC win streak and challenges for the belt or something, like, it still is a very, very long road for me to ever have any chance of being right in that prediction. So you guys know me. I'm all about being open, honest, and transparent with you guys, and I could not have been more wrong about that one. And then Sean freaking O'Malley. Can I have my flowers for like 2 seconds here and say that, I mean, I called the game plan perfectly. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do. What I didn't count on is Merab improving. Like, what can that man not do? Merab looked better somehow in this fight. I mean, he's old, he's small, and he's improving at 35, 36 years old somehow. What is going on with that guy? I never expected a finish. I laughed about Merab talking about getting a finish in this fight. He choked that man out in 3. We didn't even hit the championship rounds. I couldn't be more impressed with Merab. My God. So being a Merab guy, betting on him all the way up to the title, and then betting against him twice back-to-back and losing money on who's essentially my guy, like, God, this feels bad. So, yeah, rough weekend for your boy. But as you guys know, that does not stop us. The UFC machine rolls on, and we've got fights to talk about this week. So we are just going to put on our surgeon gloves and just both hands straight into the shit. Like, we're just going to dive in there. We're doing it. It does not matter. We are getting after it. And I brought one of my absolute favorite guests on the show with me this week to break down this card. Why? Not just because I love him, not just because he's one of the smartest cappers in the game, not just because he's one of the longest podcasts talking MMA betting on the internet today, but because these fights are in my man's backyard. You've got none other than the esteemed, the elaborate, the gorgeous Dan Levy from Half the Battle. What's going on, buddy? How you doing today?
Oh my God, that introduction was absolutely phenomenal. Thanks for having me, specifically for Atlanta. That means a lot that you called me for this show. I appreciate you, my man.
Of course. Couldn't have done it any other way. Now, peek behind the curtain for the people. We had a little bit of a conundrum because next week is Jamal Hill fight week. So we were like, do we do Atlanta? Do we do Jamal? No, it had to be Atlanta, though. Had to be Atlanta.
Absolutely. Not only that, I got a new best bantamweight prospect for you. So we're gonna move on from Patchy. No big deal. Hey, we've all been wrong about prospects before, but now I got the real future bantamweight king, and he's fighting on this card, so I can't wait to talk about it.
We got some stuff to talk about, man. We got some stuff to talk about. How'd you do at UFC 316? I got rinsed. I got absolutely wiped. How'd you do?
Man, I'm actually pissed at myself. I sat out, didn't even make any bets, just chilled, and then ended up going like 12-1 on picks. I was like, yeah, of course. That's why. So yeah, the MMA god slapped me in the face, told me, hey, bro, don't be a bitch. Go ahead and make some bets. But I don't know. I wasn't really feeling much, and it is what it is. No excuses. Let's move to Atlanta.
Bro, that's how it goes. Every single time. If you take it light, if you take it easy, hell, if you take it off, you know you're going to absolutely smash. The thing that I am most upset with myself for, believe it or not, it's not being wrong, because when you make a call like I did years ago, you've been preaching, you can't then not put your money where your mouth is, right? So like, yes, I was wrong, and that sucked. But how did I not take the low-hanging fruit, man? I've been printing money on Kayla Harrison inside the distance. I called the upset, or not the upset, but I called the finish on Holly Holm when she got here. I knew it was Kayla Harrison inside the distance, and it should have been a smash spot. But I got blinded by my big-time spot on Patchy Mix that I decided to just not look at some of the opportunities on the board. And that's what I'm pissed at myself for, because there were some other spots that I made fantastic calls, like Ju Young Yu by knockout, Kayla Harrison inside the distance. I called Sal killed by decision because Yanel was going to be a little too tough to get out of the cage. Like, I could have made money this week, and instead I just dropped a bomb on the one thing that I was so wrong about. So yeah, man, got to brush it off. Got to get back after it, and thank God we've got a new dumpster to dive into here this week, so we've got fresh opportunities to make things right. Guys, let's get into this card. Everybody smash that like button for me, and let's get after it. First fight of the night, we got Vanessa Demopoulos filling in on short notice, unless I'm mistaken here, against Jamey-Lyn Horth. And this is one greasy-ass fight, my friend. Jamey-Lyn Horth is currently sitting minus 455 is the number I'm looking at over on DraftKings. Plus 350 on Vanessa Demopoulos. And I know Vanessa has this reputation of greasing out some of these close wins, being, maybe done a favor here or there when these fights get a little close, get a little hairy. But man, I don't think this is a good opportunity for her. Coming in on short notice against a woman who has a similar age bracket to her. We got 35 and 36 years old. The big difference, man, I always talk about physicality in women's MMA. And Jamey-Lyn Horth is massive. She's relatively young in her career, even though she's a little bit older. I mentioned to you before, I feel like she reminds me a little bit of Angela Hill, not in the way that she fights, not in her style, but the fact that she got a little bit late to the sport, she got a little late to the big show. We've seen women function at a higher level past the age of 34, 35 years old because they got to the show a little bit late. And that's kind of what I'm expecting to see here. I hate the number. Can't stand this kind of a price tag. It's women's MMA. We might be headed for a split. But I think it's Jamey-Lyn Horth, man. I think it's Horth by decision in this spot. What about you?
I mean, it just depends. Are we actually headed towards a split or not? Because if we are, then it's Vanessa Demopoulos. If we're not, and let me tell y'all something. I'm from Atlanta, born and raised. And more importantly than that, I've worked, a lot of local fights, commentary, whatever the case may be. I'm very familiar with the officials in Georgia. And let me just tell you something right now. If this fight is close, get ready to get pissed off if you're on the losing side. That's just the bottom line. And if you hear the name Nate Mann as a ref or as a judge, pray to God he has some kind of bias towards your fighter, because this guy should not be reffing, let alone watching fights. This guy's obese. This guy runs into fighters in the middle of fights. What I just said happens. Fighters will be fighting. This guy will trip over them. Will submit the worst scorecards you've ever seen. A fighter will be in full mount for 2 minutes straight, landing punches. He won't stop the fight. So if you hear the name Nate Mann, I mean, grab your life jacket and like get your parachute, because, get your gas mask too. You know what I'm saying? But as far as this matchup is concerned, Clint, it just comes down to the odds for me. If I were to make a bet here, it'd be dog or pass, but I'm not going to make a bet here. I'll pick the favorite as, listen, just that size difference, right? And the other metric that really gets to me is the 25% takedown defense. That means for every 4 attempts you have on Vanessa, 3 of them will take her down. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but the reason she does get away with some of these like greasy decisions and whatnot is because she gives a lot of effort when she's on the feet and she tries super hard. So you got to be worried about that. But yeah, I'll still pick the favorite reluctantly.
Yeah, that's fair enough for me, man. That's fair enough for me. Hopefully she can put some distance between herself and Vanessa, because you never know. Like I said, she might have some traveling clients, man. There might be some goodwill waiting for her out there in Atlanta. Speaking of goodwill out in Atlanta, my friend, I want to just real quick. Did you know the last 2 times I've had you on this podcast, none other than Austin Riley has hit a home run during the baseball game, literally like live on the podcast. Game's about to kick off, and I just if you had to pick one Brave to hit a home run, man, like what is it for the people, for the degenerates? What are we doing?
Man, you got me excited. I thought you meant Riley already homered. I was like, shit, I didn't know the game already started.
Just about to start. Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't go wrong with the Rileys, the Olsons. Here I go naming the whole lineup, the Acuñas. I think a sneaky one is Michael Harris. He's kind of been on a bit of a slump, and right when you count him out is when he does big things. So let's go with Michael Harris.
Okay,
and Riley, because it's me and you.
Hey, we got to ride the streak with Riley, right? But I like the Harris call. So I got, $5 or $10 I could throw around here while we're live on the show. Let's see what happens. Next up, you guys, we are already moving right along to fight number 2 here. We have got the Fresh Prince, Phil Rowe, and he's taking on Ange Loosa, the last ninja himself. And I got to pause. My guy, Diego, with the donation. Thank you very much, my friend Diego, my man. So he didn't even put anything in the message, my man. This is just a pure donation, and I have to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, my friend. That means the absolute world to me. He says, you rock, Clint, and that's it. But some of you guys, it's weird. You never know what social media platform some people are on. Coming off my big L this past week, I was all up in my feelings, man. I had a hard time, had a bad weekend, had to step away from social media and just be center myself for a minute, because I take this shit seriously. I work real hard. I put hours of effort and research in. I bring the best guests. I have connections within the industry. I'm always trying to do the best for you guys, the listeners, and bringing every bit of information I can to you. But it's embarrassing. And I'm literally getting my ass kicked for almost 2 straight years now. I can't figure my shit out when it comes to the gambling stuff. So I'm down bad right now. And when I made a post about my frustrations and things like that, the outpouring of love was just amazing. But one of the people that reached out to me on a personal level, some people will respond to the message, and a lot of people told me to keep my heads up, etc. But there was a small few people that reached out to me on an individual level, and Diego, my guy, is one of those people that reached out to me and just wanted to check on me. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart, my friend, the donation means the world to me. Your friendship and the connection, and you checking on me means even more. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, Dirty Reg says it's gambling. Don't be so hard on yourself. And yeah, absolutely, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm a competitor. I was on the starting football team when I was younger. You know what I mean? I wrestled. I went out for track. I did jujitsu. I competed all the way into college because I couldn't, when I finally got to the point that I was like,
Clint wrestled. My boy Clint wrestled
when I was young.
Hey.
Not when I was in high school or anything. But
so what?
I did tournaments.
Not a lot of people can say that. So respect.
Dude, I did it all. I did pole vault. I did everything. I'm not even kidding. I went to state champions for pole vault for my high school. I did a lot. And so that I've got that drive in me. I actually almost lost my girlfriend, who is now my wife, because I was such an asshole at like a friendly game of volleyball with her friends. She had to like pull me aside and be like, you need to chill the fuck out or this isn't going to work, because her friends were like getting upset because I wanted to win. They were just there to hang out. I wanted to win the damn volleyball game. So like,
There you go.
I had to mature and check myself with that a little bit. You know what I mean? But that's when I was a little older for jiu-jitsu. I found poker, and that's what led me to gambling. So like my competitive streak is now self-focused. I'm not competing with anybody but myself. But at the end of the day, I still want to win. And so when I go on a losing skid like this, it's brutal for me. To my core, it's something that bothers me. And that's where, the last run that I've been on has been really tough. So again, just to bring that full circle, the people that have, reached out to me on an individual level like that, you guys have no idea how much I love and appreciate you guys. And especially you, Yego, with the massive dono in the chat. Thank you very, very much. K-Deep saying Clint also pushes girls in swimming pools. That was me trying to flirt, though. That wasn't because I was being overly competitive, but that did in fact happen. So yeah, man. Yeah. And Dan, I don't know if you've ever seen those videos of people like hitting their nuts and stuff like that, trying to pole vault. That literally happened to me. It's not fun. You're like 8 feet in the air and then you get hit right in the sack. It's not fun coming down and then trying to recover from that. You just got to hope the girls that run the 100-meter are on the other side of the track. you don't want to be seen in that. Anyway, all right, let's get back to Phil Rowe. Let's get back to Phil Rowe and Ange Loosa. I swear, every tangent I go on turns into an embarrassing story that I've got for you guys. I've got plenty of them. So Phil Rowe, I believe, is the hometown fighter here, isn't he?
He's from Florida, but he's
Florida. Okay.
He cross trains in Georgia sometimes. So
right, like
out of the two, he's the hometown fighter.
Okay, that's what I felt. I'm like, man, like I know he's not from there, but I feel like he's from there. Like, what am I missing here? Anyway, Phil Rowe is a guy that I got to tell you, man, I've got so much frustration for. So he's 34 years old. He went on this sick little run, and now he's on a big losing skid. Well, it's not a big losing skid, 2 fights. But I had him big. I had him big against Jake Matthews at UFC 302 in his last fight, man. And it came down to one single scramble, one decision that he made in round 3. He decided to get a little high, fell off. Jake Matthews took advantage of the transition, got on top of him, and then Phil was just content to play from his back. He's like a female Vanessa Demopoulos, man. Like that's he ends up on his back. He's willing to fish for arm bars. He wants to hunt submissions, and with those lanky ass legs, he always has a chance, right? He's live to submit you from down there, and I love that about him. Counting on that sub prop is a thing I've done before, and you never can count him out. He's training with people like Adolfo Vieira. Like this guy's pretty slick on the mat, but losing because of one choice at the end of a fight is always something that's going to really, really sit wrong with me. And before that, he lost a split decision against Neil Magny, which I believe I had him in that fight as well. So his Muay Thai is decent. He keeps the range pretty well. He gasses though. Like he's so big. He cuts so much weight. He's one of these long, tall, skinny guys, and he can't hardly put a full 15 minutes together against good, high-level competition because he slows down so heavily. Ange Loosa, 10-4, 31 years old. He's fighting in his prime right now. Seems like if he's ever going to put it together, man, this is it, right? Like he's one of these guys that's been on the low end of the spectrum as far as experience. And now he's kind of got that experience, but he's got a really weird record. He's 2-2-1 in the UFC, just coming off getting beat up by Gabriel Bonfim, but he's so game. He's in every single one of these fights. Like I want him to get the win. I want him to get over the hump and turn that corner and be a real contender and a real challenger, give it a good go. But like, I'm not sure if he's ever going to quite put it together that much. You go back a fight, the Brian Battle fight. That one got called a no contest, and I got saved, Dan. I got saved. I actually took the dog shot on Ange Loosa that night, and I will never not make fun of this man because you guys, I'm the guy that stands up for the fighters. I'm the guy that goes, you know what? He got poked in the eye. Give him the benefit of the doubt. You're not in the cage. You didn't get, finger banged knuckle deep into your right eye socket. Like, give the man the benefit of the doubt here. But Ange wanted to fight the second they called the fight over. It was one of those situations where he got fouled. He looks at his coach. He looks at the clock. He's like, man, I was kind of getting my ass kicked. And then he does just enough for the referee to step in and wave that fight off. And then he wants to go after Brian Battle after the bell. It's like, bro, you're fine. If you're trying to fight 2 seconds after they call the fight off, you were fine. You could have got up and continued. So I'm not going to forgive him for that one. We all know who won that fight. He's technically 2-3 in my book because Bryan Battle was beating that ass. His only wins are AJ Fletcher and Rhys McKee. So I'm not going to bet on what isn't there. You know what I mean? There's some fighters where you know the level's higher than they've shown. I don't know that Ange Loosa is necessarily that guy. Seems like he's a fringe mid to low tier guy if he can keep a UFC roster spot at all. I think Phil Rowe is the better fighter. The problem is Phil Rowe is a little older. The problem for me is Phil Rowe slows down and Ange Loosa finds himself in these close fights that are grappling heavy pretty regularly, and he can get some top time here on Mr. Rowe. Man, this is a terrible fight that I don't want anybody losing their hard-earned money on. I think I'm going to have to pick Ange Loosa one more time, though, man. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. I can't bet it, especially at favorite price tags because he's minus 140. Like, you give me plus money and maybe I'll roll the dice again on Ange Loosa. Favorite? No, I can't do it. What do you like in this fight? I'll pick Ange Loosa, but zero confidence.
So I agree with you that Bryan Battle definitely beat Ange Loosa. No questions asked, but I also think it needs to be addressed that Bryan Battle is one of the dirtiest fighters on the roster. I mean, there was that fight, and then the next fight against Randy Brown, he comes in at 175 pounds and then cage pushes the whole time. Like, dude, that is some of the dirtiest shit I've ever seen in my life. So my buddy Jake tweeted out that Bryan Battle's fighting Nursultan. I quote tweeted it and said, I can't wait for this 175.3 pound fight. You know what I'm saying? But as far as these guys are concerned, it is a tough fight, like you said, because Phil Rowe, he could actually be like on a win streak. A couple of these fights came down to like one moment in round 3. The Gabe Green fight, the Jake Matthews fight, even the Neil Magny fight was super close. But to Jake and Neil's credit, those are like established vets. Like, I'm talking, 25 UFC fights each? I know Magny's got more, but minimum 20 UFC fights for Jake Matthews. And my thing with Ange Loosa, where I do think he can win, is that he pushes a really good pace and he can get takedowns. He's physical. He's taking down a lot of guys. But the thing about it, man, is Phil Rowe's got a long reach. I know it's listed at 80 inches, but I actually heard an interview with him, and he told me that he's got this old school boxing coach, and when they measured his reach, he purposely put his arms kind of shorter so they didn't get the full reach. So he's actually got like an 82 or 83 inch reach.
Sick advantage, bro.
And one thing I've noticed is every time he finds a home for that straight right, he either knocks guys out or he hurts them badly. And there was this fight I bet on Ange Loosa against this kid Fletcher. What's Fletcher's first name? AJ Fletcher. Right. So I bet on Ange Loosa against AJ Fletcher, right? And it's going smooth sailing. I'm like, wow, this is like one of the easiest bets I've ever made. Then round 2 comes through, and all of a sudden, Ange Loosa has the biggest cardio dump / gets rocked, and I'm blessed that they didn't stop that fight. Somehow Ange Loosa comes back, wins the 3rd round. I get a 29-28, but I mean, similar instances, I think Rowe knocks him out in that spot. And as far as Rowe giving up those easy takedowns, I definitely agree with you. That's not something I want. And that's something that'll probably happen here. However, Rowe is a black belt under Julian Williams, who I really respect. And Rowe has swept a lot of real people when he's been on his back, like such as Jake Matthews, even in the Gabe Green fight. So I'm gonna go Rowe for the upset here, man. I'm gonna go on the opposite side. I'm gonna take the underdog. I'm gonna take Phil Rowe here for the upset.
Okay. I mean, man, honestly, this is one of those ones where it's not going to take me much to get swayed over to the dog side of things. You're kind of talking me into it. And one of the fights I didn't have time to go back and watch, but now that we're kind of talking it through, light bulb comes on here. I totally forgot that Rhys McKee was beating the brakes off of this man at the end of their fight. Didn't Rhys mount like the biggest 3rd round comeback of all time and was like this close to finishing him? Was that this fight?
You talking about
was that the Loosa fight?
So Rhys McKee, honestly, I mean, look, yeah, Rhys McKee did have a big 3rd round. He did have a big.
If I recall correctly, he was down 2 rounds, and then in round 3 nearly killed Loosa, and Loosa was like pulling a CJ Vergara, sprinting around the cage looking for the clock. Like, I feel like Loosa's taken a lot of damage, and for as durable as he's been real close to getting finished a couple of different times. So you might be onto something there with that Phil Rowe right hand.
Someone wrote Phil Rowe's the favorite. I see him plus 110, plus 112, plus 114. He's the dog. What's up, Pepe?
He's the dog. Everywhere I'm seeing, he's the dog. What's up, Pepe? One of the sharpest guys in the game right there. Appreciate you being here in the chat, my friend. Yeah, Cade said that he's the favorite. He's the dog, my friend. So
I think he was the favorite. Wasn't he the favorite? Did they open pick him or something? I don't remember.
Did it open favorite? I didn't see the opening line for this one, so maybe it flipped. I don't know.
But he's definitely the dog, and he was an even bigger dog like yesterday. So yeah.
Interesting. All right. I'm going to have to do, we spent enough time on this one. I'm going to have to go back and do some sleuthing and see where that line opened up. We'll get back to you guys. All right. Next fight up, we have got maybe.
No, Marcel just texted me. They're searching for a replacement for Ricky.
So guys, Ricky Simone is still on the card as far as we know, if they can find an opportunity for him. Charles Jourdain with an eye injury. Highly unfortunate. You never want to see somebody's eye being involved. He's out of the fight. So it's a good one, man. It was a good one. I'm very upset about losing this one. I love Charles Jourdain fights. He's always a blood and guts, life and death type of fighter. He's out there fighting for glory and Valhalla, and you love to see it. And Ricky, the way he fought his last fight, coming out looking for bombs on the feet. Like, I think this was going to be a fun one. So disappointing. Hopefully they get Ricky a replacement, and we won't waste your guys' time because there's other fights to talk about on this card now. The next one is Cody Durden, and he's taking on Jose Ochoa. Now, here's the thing. My man Dan knows a thing or two about Cody Durden on a level that most people don't understand. So, Dan, I'm going to let you go ahead and lead this one off, man. Talk to me about Cody. Talk to me about his opponent, and let's see what we got going here for this one.
Yeah, listen, it's a great matchup. I know a lot of people are confused. Why is like such a seasoned vet fighting an 0-1 guy? But this 0-1 guy is not your typical 0-1 guy. He's a stud, this kid. And I remember scouting him when he was fighting Kavanaugh, thinking like he was plus 300 there. I was like, man, this is a dog or pass situation. Like, I lean Kavanaugh, but this is a close fight. Now, when I watched that fight live, I don't know if you remember, it was in Macau. So it was like 5 a.m., 4 a.m. Live, I thought it was like this tooth and nail battle and all this stuff. But when I rewatched it, Lone won like 13 minutes of that fight straight up, man. But I got to give Ochoa a lot of credit. He comes from a great camp and shoot the box. I love his regional footage. I love his kicks. I love his knees. I love his, like, you shoot a sloppy shot on him, he's got a good front choke series waiting for you. So he's a tough out. And that's why they're giving him, a seasoned vet in Cody Durden. What I do know about Cody regarding this camp is that the last 4 months, he's gone all in. He moved to Florida, ATT, away from his wife and kids, and basically he knows what's at stake here. Like, we're not, none of us are dumb. We all know what's at stake here. We all know exactly what's at stake here. And we also know that this is, Cody in Atlanta is a huge deal. I commentated some of his fights back in the NFC. So to see him fight at, it's called State Farm Arena, but for us ATLians, we call it Phillips Arena. So to see him there is already a victory in itself. Now, as far as how the fight's going to go down, this comes down to, you have to bring up stuff like this, that Cody is 34, right? He just turned 34. Now, the champ in that division, how old's Pantoja? He's got to be 35, 36, right? Pantoja,
yeah, he's one of the old champs, man.
Let's pull up how old Pantoja is real quick. How old is he? He's got to be 36, I'm guessing, right? Yeah, 35.
35 years old.
Yep, 35. So I can tell you this. Cody's main training partners this camp: Pantoja, Horiguchi, Rinya Nakamura, and some of the other people in at ATT. He's been staying in the dorms. Like I said, he went all in. So it's basically about what does he have left in the tank, right? Because he's 34 years old. This is flyweight, and he's taken some beatings recently. The Josh Van fight was a beating. The Tagir fight was a beating. Now, to Tagir and Josh Van's credit, I just think those guys are simply better than Cody. That's just the bottom line. They're simply better. Whereas like the Bruno Bulldog fight, that one was kind of unfortunate because Cody was picking apart Bruno. He just got caught. That was really unfortunate. But Ochoa, it's a little different, right? He's nowhere near as experienced as those guys, but he's super dangerous. He's long. So I think he's going to come out here and give Cody a real fight. Now, what am I hoping happens? I'm hoping that this is a vet lesson. I'm hoping that Cody's experience pushes him through, and that one day this kid will come back and have a very bright future. I have no doubt that he'll have a bright future. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it go either way, honestly. But, I got to go with my boy Cody Durden and ATL at Phillips Arena to come out here and give this kid a vet lesson. I know it's going to be tough. I know it won't be easy, but come on, let's get it, Cody Durden.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. Now, I've had a bit of a rocky history with your boy Cody Durden. You know, he's a guy I picked against early on in his career, and then he kind of won me over, you know, with his heart, his determination, his no quit attitude that he showed. Like, and then he turned the damn thing around, went on a win streak. Like, I've got newfound respect for the man. So we've got kind of a frenemies thing going on at this point in time. But he's 1-3 in his last 4 fights, and like you mentioned before, high stakes coming into this one with that kind of a run at 34 years old. You could be 1 L away from getting cut by the UFC. Now, I think they should keep him around. Like, even if Durden does lose this fight, I would hope the UFC find him entertaining enough to give him another fight, because he is extremely skilled, and no matter who he's fighting, he goes out there and he puts on a damn show, man. His fight with Josh Van. Now, we just saw what Josh Van was capable of again on Saturday. There's few people who could have taken that beating. Like, he was all heart in that 3rd round. Everybody else goes down under that onslaught in round 3. And somehow Cody Durden kept it together. What an unreal one-sided round 3 that was. And frankly, I'm glad he took some time off, man. I'm glad it's 6 months since that fight, because a lot of times you'll see somebody take a lot of damage like that, and then it gets paid off in their next fight where they can't take it like they usually can, because here we are taking shots yet again immediately, you know, 2-3 months down the road, that kind of thing. So I'm glad it's been a 6-month removal here for him. I'm glad he's taking it seriously. He's working with the best guys he possibly can. This is a big jump, man. Jose Ochoa coming into the UFC, losing to another prospect. Granted, somebody in Loner Kavanaugh that we were all very excited about, but fighting another guy with less than 10 fights, jumping up to taking on Cody Durden. I would be tempted to go with Cody Durden one last ride in his hometown, man. He's a plus 150 underdog. Jose Ochoa is minus 180. I respect that he's from a camp like Shoot the Box. He's mean, he's nasty in the clinch, but he throws these big looping strikes, man, big winging punches, big overhands. I think those are going to provide opportunities for Cody to level change on him, and I think the wrestling is something we just lean on a little bit here. So I kind of like Cody to pull the upset here. I can't quite get to pulling the trigger on him, but I think I'm going to go ahead and say I'm picking Cody Durden for this one, man. At plus 150, I think there's just an ever so slight edge of value there. The guy with all the experience versus the kid who's still kind of wet behind the ears coming in here into the UFC, and someone who hasn't faced this level of offensive grappling yet either. So yeah, I'm with you. Let's go Cody. I'll pick Cody for the show. Shout out my guy Dixon asking for a NHL 2-leg parlay, 2 guys to score a point tonight for the Stanley Cup playoff finals. Man, I like Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk? I think you say Tkachuk, even though it's spelled with a T. They're on the same line together. I believe they're on the second line, and then both of them are on power play units. So yeah, Matt Tkachuk and then Sam Bennett, man, if you want a 2-legger there, just 2 guys to get a point. I kind of think it's an under game, believe it or not. After going 1-1 and all these crazy overs, I kind of feel like we're going to get a lockdown on this one. So just be careful with that one, because I don't know if we're going to get as many points as we have been lately.
I'll go with guys. Danny Heatley and Ilya Kovalchuk. If you know the reference, you know. Keep going.
I don't. I'm missing that one, man. I was like, damn, those hockey? What are we doing?
those were the 2 stars of the Atlanta Thrashers. The team no longer exists.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Let's keep it roll. Yeah, see, Dream knew the Thrashers. There you go. All right, guys, here we go. Next fight up, we have got Malcolm the Machine Wellmaker, and he welcomes back Kris Moutinho, of all people, to the UFC. And man, I gotta tell you, Dan, this is a 135-pound fight. Mm-hmm. And you know, before this past week, I regularly had this thing where I would come on here and I'd call myself the Bantamweight King, and I had this goofy little crown that I would put on my head, and I just have the most impeccable run at this weight class, calling massive upsets and just honestly being right all the damn time. I'm on a bit of a tough skid here, so I'm not sure if it's appropriate that what are you guys even talking about? It is a matter of royalty, okay? A king, just because he's wrong, does not step down and concede his throne. Y'all aren't getting rid of me that easy, so I was wrong this weekend. Patchy Mix wasn't the man I thought he was, but I am still your bantamweight king. No one's moving me from this seat, okay? This is my division, and it will be until I decide to take another one. When my record goes straight negative in bantamweight, okay, then maybe I'll consider laying down the crown. You can call me the bantamweight tyrant for all I care. I'm going nowhere. So, Dan, I don't know why we're even talking about this fight, my guy. I really don't. I don't know what is going on here. The UFC finally gives Kris Moutinho a shot. Like, everyone's been waiting. Everyone wants Kris to get his opportunity. Shout out Spectation Sports. He went out there and he's been fighting for Cage Titans, and he's looked real good since he got done with the UFC, man. He's on a 5-fight win streak, all 5 of those fights by finish. Like, he really looks like a prospect that they should have brought in the first place. But they are doing it so dirty. Malcolm Wellmaker is one of the hottest prospects we have ever seen. The kid is 9-0, and we just saw him make an absolute splash. Round 1 finish against Cameron Simon, and I'm kicking myself, Dan. I'm kicking myself. I called him pulling off that fight in a big way. I called the knockout. He was near even money, and I had that one circled for months.
I was even on your show for that fight.
You came on my show, and I called what happened, but something got in my ear. Somebody said something, and I was like, oh, like, I've been shitting so hard on Simon, not shitting on him, but I mean, I've been betting against Simon so much recently. Like, the fights have just been perfect that I was like, am I going back to the well one too many times? And I second guessed myself, and I just passed. Of course, this kid goes out there and does exactly what we think he's going to. He's the goods. He's legit. He's the real deal. Fast, accurate hands, incredibly athletic. The footwork is on point. He's so quick. He's hard to find in there. And the UFC goes, hey, you know what? Let's get you a fight, kid. And we're going to bring back Kris Moutinho just for you. So this poor kid gets to the UFC the first time around, gets his ass beaten by Sugar Sean O'Malley. And then they give him Joe Canetti in his next fight and give him his walking papers. Like, that's just fucked up. Like, and now they're giving him Malcolm Wellmaker. Like, he's a 13-1 favorite. And I'm sorry, if Malcolm gets anywhere near half the volume that Sean O'Malley did, this kid ain't standing. It's gonna be another Malcolm Wellmaker by KO. And unfortunately, this time we're not getting any kind of a price on that. Your bantamweight king has spoken. Dan, what do you make of this fight, man? Talk to me about your boy Malcolm Wellmaker.
Well, you got to put that crown back on, because you were just 1 week early with who the best bantamweight prospect is. So I want you to put that crown back on, because we're looking at the best bantamweight prospect right now in the entire sport. And guys, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, Daniel's biased towards the Georgia guys. Yeah, sure. But when have I ever said that about a Georgia guy? When have I ever said Cody Durden's a future top 5 guy? When have I? Never. I've said Cody Durden's a future top 15 guy, and he was. But I don't bullshit about where I think my guys are at. Yeah, I root for them openly, but I tell you exactly where I think they're at. And I can tell you right now that Malcolm Wellmaker is the best talent we've ever had come out of Georgia, ever. And I mean, you know, we produced Forrest Griffin, right? UFC world champion. This guy, listen, man, the thing about Malcolm is that obviously he's so talented, but he's got the work ethic of like a blue collar worker. I mean, you know, he is a blue collar worker. You know, this guy's a welder. Like, so when you come, so like, listen, man, hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. But when you combine the two, you get Malcolm Wellmaker. And big shout out to Kris Moutinho. You're not going to catch me dead disrespecting Kris Moutinho. You know why? Because Kris Moutinho is the fucking man. Listen, okay, Kris Moutinho, after this fight, if you want bottle service sent to your room, you got it. You want strippers? Say less. A half ounce of the best weed? You let me know. Because Kris, you're taking one for the team. And we appreciate you, bro. Because you want to know something, Clint?
I do.
Turn this fight down. Turn this fight down. You know,
your mic cut out. Your mic cut out.
I know. I'm purposely muting myself when I mention the names.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, no, spill the tea.
Turn this fight down. Now, I want to say one more thing. This guy, I can mention his name. Marab's training partner also turned it down. However, he had like a knee surgery the week prior, so he actually had a legit excuse. That one we won't hold against him. But the other three, why didn't y'all take this fight, man? So it was basically like either Malcolm's not going to fight in Atlanta or we got to call the next guy up. And Kris Moutinho is on a 5-fight, not just win streak, but a 5-fight kill streak. He's finished his last 5 opponents. You earned that call back. No guy on the roster was willing to take this fight. So thank you, Kris. Now we get to watch Malcolm fight in Atlanta at Phillips Arena, which is a beautiful thing because I haven't seen him fight live since he was an amateur when I commentated his amateur fights for the NFC. But regarding his skills, I mean, the guy's incredibly athletic. He's got this nasty lead leg high kick. You already know about his right hand. The takedown defense is on point. The get-up game, everything. The complete package with insane knockout power for 135, swag, everything you want. Malcolm Wellmaker by destruction here. And big shout out Kris Moutinho. Take me up on that offer. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, man. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm super excited about this kid. I can't wait to see where he goes. The next generation of bantamweights, guys, this weight class is insane. There's a reason it's my favorite weight class. Like not only just because I'm pretty good at picking the winners of it, but like because it's stacked. It's unbelievably stacked. And we've already got a young crop of prospects that are coming up that are going to fill this roster out. When some of these older guys phase out, they're just going to reload it. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. And what's my boy Paul saying? Clint filling in as the king of cringe. What you talking about? What you talking about taking over, my boy? I've been the king of cringe for a long time. I've never taken myself seriously on this show. So what are you talking about? All right, guys, let's get going here. Next up, we've got Michael Chiesa, and he is taking on Court the Crusher McGee. I love me some Court McGee, man. I love Court McGee. He's one of those guys that I just kind of can't get enough of. He's got that second life durability. You know, he's one of those guys that died on the table with like a drug overdose, I believe. And ever since then has just been impossible to finish. And he's got, you know, next to Merab level cardio. Problem is he's getting a little bit older. He's a little long in the tooth. 22-13. So he's getting up there. He is 40 years old at this point. He is currently on a 3-3 in his last 6, but let's be real, it is 1-3 in his last 4. Got knocked out by Jeremiah Wells, got knocked out by Matt Brown. Tough times. Hasn't fought since 2024 back in October when he got Tim Means with a big old submission victory. I'm kicking myself, man. I bet the dog that night. However, I talked about the sub, didn't bet it. So that's one of those big, long sub props that I could have hit that I'm really frustrated I didn't get to the night of. Taking on Michael Chiesa, grappler extraordinaire, 18-7. He's 37 years old, very tall, very long. If he's not submitting you more often than not, he is not beating you. He is looking good in his last couple fights, but he fought Max Griffin and Tony Ferguson, winning both those fights via submission. Man, he's kind of a one-trick pony. And I don't mean to like belittle his skill set or anything like that. I'm not trying to do it, but boiling him down, he really is reliant on being a bully in there, being able to submit you. And if he can't get dominant positions like that, he just kind of falls apart striking. I'll be honest with you. I thought Michael Chiesa was done. He had that cushy gig with the UFC. He's doing commentary. He's on a lot of that kind of stuff outside the cage. We saw him face some of the real fighters in this weight class, Kevin Holland, Vicente Luque, and he's not passing those tests anymore. Long layoff, injuries. Now he's older. I thought he was done, man. I really just thought it was over for him. But he looked good in his last couple fights. Now, there's nothing to write home about. He's taking age-appropriate fights here with guys like Tony Ferguson. Of course, he was going to win that one. Court McGee is a very, very difficult man to put away in general. If you're not knocking him out, you're not finishing him. Court McGee has never been submitted before, man. This guy knows how to wrestle his ass off, and he doesn't have a ton of power in his hands, but he's a decent boxer, and he'll put it on you. If you get tired, if you slow down, this man will work you in the cage. I got a feeling that even though they're both kind of towards the end of their careers, I've got a feeling Court McGee probably wants it more, just because I feel like he's wanting it more than everybody at this point. He just wants to get in there and fight. Big price tag on Michael Chiesa, minus 360. The underdog Court McGee is plus 285. And man, I could be talked into a dog shot in this fight, maybe. I just am not 1000% sold on where Chiesa is these days. And if he's not striking with Court McGee, then I think Court is going to be very, very live in this fight. You know, Jeremiah Wells was a guy that a lot of people thought he was going to come in and wrestle, take him down. Instead, he gave him the left hook Larry, got him out of there with a big shot. But like, you go back to the Ramiz Brahimaj fight, and I know Brahimaj has come a long way. He's not the same fighter he was when he fought Court McGee, but McGee sprawled and brawled his way in that fight. And he had Ramiz getting his face busted up because he couldn't get the takedowns. Chiesa's a much bigger man. Chiesa's much savvier. He will go to that body triangle. He will climb you and take your back and just kind of ride out top time. So I think Chiesa decision makes some sense here, is probably what is like the most likely outcome. But I could see him get broken, man. I could see McGee scoring more in the striking. There's a shot here that Court McGee is live. I like the over. I think this fight goes a full 15. It's probably Chiesa getting a decision with control. Might be a bit of a boring fight, but I'm going to be rooting for Court McGee.
I think this one's tougher to call than the line indicates, but it's hard for me to plant my flag on the dog when he was born in 1984. I mean, dude, I think it's been a while, but I think I laid minus 300 straight on Alex Morano against Court McGee. That's how done I thought he was. And man, he gave me a sweat in that fight. And then the next fight against Tim Means. So you know how he goes out there and he destroys Tim Means in the first round. All right, a little bit of trivia. How long ago do you think was his most recent finish before that?
Oof.
Just name, say 10 years, say 15 years, say something.
Did he ever have one? I mean, probably like 15 years, man.
Exactly. 2010 in his debut, he got a submission. Besides that, he never finished anybody until the Tim Means fight. And that was ridiculous. You just got him out of there like it was nothing. I was like, damn. So like right when you think this guy's done, but then again, Tim Means is also done. But man, I've also thought Chiesa has been on his way out for a while too. So that makes it tough. So then I just kind of think of it like prime for prime. Well, Chiesa made it to the top 15 in two different weight classes, 155 and 170. You know what's absolutely ridiculous? I think he made it to the top 5 at 170, which like in today's 170 is like laughable. But man, I mean, he beat RDA, and back then that was a really big deal. So he like got highly ranked at 170. At 155, he choked out Dariush. Like, dude, Chiesa's got some good wins under his resume for being like a one-dimensional guy, no stand-up, breaks in fights. Like, you seen that Anthony Pettis fight? Like, sometimes he'll give you like the worst looks, but I don't know. In theory, I feel like McGee could sprawl and brawl, but like, I don't know. I feel like I've been saying in theory regarding Chiesa his entire career. And like, I was like, in theory, there's no way in hell he takes Beneil Dariush's back, you know, and then he chokes him out. So I'll go Chiesa, but yeah, I don't know. It could go either way. They're both old and they're both washed up, and that's no disrespect. That's just the truth.
I hear you, man. I hear you. This is definitely winner gets a new hip type of fight. I got to shout out my guy Tim in the chat saying Court had 12 weeks to learn the Darce choke for this fight. At the truth, Chiesa is such a relentless paced grappler. He doesn't know how to scramble out when somebody hooks up a Darce. So that is always an option. And now, but Tim, you were saying he says he doubts Kris lasts a round. Who's he? Are we talking?
No, we're talking about the Malcolm fight. That's what he was.
Okay. I was like, man, I'm mixing up my my threads here for sure. But if he's got that Darce on lock, man, you know he's got an I win button in this particular fight. It factor, don't let me talk you into Court, man. That's half of my fanship talking, and it's also maybe wanting to fade Chiesa talking. Like, this is not a fight I want to be overly exposed to. Matt, good shout here though. Say watch Chiesa's interview with James Lynch. He still wants it, and that makes a difference, man. If you're still all in on your MMA career, or at least it sounds like you are, that means something, because there's very, very real possibility that, you know, if you're talking like, oh, well, I'm just, you know, having fun, do my best. Like, hey, yeah, I'm not betting on you if you're talking about do your best. This isn't my kid's T-ball game, right? Like, I want to make sure you're in there looking for a dub. All right.
I mean, like, Clint, the thing about it is I always talk about, like, if there's a guy born before 1990 taking on a guy born after 1990, I need a damn good reason to take the guy born before 1990. Both these guys were born before 1990. You feel me?
That makes it tough. That makes it tough. We're dealing with some fossils here, man.
84 and 87. My God.
Oh man, 87 right in the heart. That just I'm an old man. All right, guys, next fight up. We got Paul Craig taking on Rodolfo Bellato. We've talked about this one a couple of times. We talked about this one a few. This is a rescheduled fight here. I guess Rodolfo Bellato had AIDS, and so they canceled the fight and moved it. No, he had some kind of a breakout, I guess. I feel like it was a mistranslation. They called it herpes.
100%. Yeah, so he had like a weight cut cold sore, which I guess when you're super dehydrated, I've seen fighters like get like something on their lips, but I guess a bunch of people try to act like he had, something else, which
Yeah.
I'm assuming he didn't have, but yeah, it's
I
unfortunate either
mean,
way.
yeah, I mean, you never know, right? Either
But
way, if
like,
you're
would he
having an
get
outbreak
cleared?
like that.
Would he get cleared that shortly after if that was the case? That's what I'm wondering.
See, I don't honestly, man, I'm not an infectious disease expert. I have no idea. Like that's the kind of thing that you could have being like like John Jones and his picograms, right? Like it's just like floating under the surface, but it's not active. And then if you have a flare up, all of a sudden you got your steroid muscles out there for one good fight night. But maybe it's the same type of thing. I have no idea. So whatever, we got to fight. Let's talk about it for a minute. Both these guys are completely untrustworthy. This is going to be a banger, though. Paul Craig falling a bit on hard times, trying to make his way back down to 185, I believe, for this fight. Which
this is 205, right? This is 205.
205. Okay, you're right. I thought he was. Oh, he did go back up, didn't he? Okay, so he fought Bo Nickel down at 185, and now he's going back up to 205 here for this one. Bellato is so bad. I mean, at 29 years old, got his ass rocked by Ihor Pateria. The thing about Bellato is he's got this ability to recover. Like he was out, man. We're talking he's on all fours, his head ping-ponging left and right. Ihor just speed bagging this guy. And he somehow managed to get his wits about him and punch his way back into that fight. Now, granted, Ihor tired out and slowed down, and that probably had a little bit more to do with it, but it still was impressive what he was able to take and then get back into his fight. And kind of the same thing happened against Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute is famous for having, I think, the most draws in the UFC now, right? He went to a draw with Jim Crute, shocking nobody because same thing. He gets hurt badly, but you can't quite put him away, and then he comes back. Paul Craig is not a striker. So if Paul Craig gets on top of this man and hurts him with ground and pound, it is over, Dan. Like Paul Craig's ground and pound is filthy, but he's got to be on top of you. If he's on bottom, he's got that nasty submission game. So he's definitely live to submit this man for sure. But as long as this thing is on the feet or at range, Craig is going to be the older, smaller man. Bellato has decent hand speed when he goes. He doesn't move his head. He's going to be right there to get hit. But if they trade 1-for-1, Bellato's power is going to be the difference here. Paul Craig doesn't have much of a chin himself either. This is a violent fight. Part of me, ever since this thing got scheduled, I kind of want to take Paul Craig by TKO, man. But Bellato seems like the kind of guy that will shoot when he shouldn't, or will get clubbed and then end up in a scramble and end up on bottom. Like this could be one for the glory days here with Paul Craig. It's a very low chance that that's what happens, you guys. So it's probably Bellato by knockout, but I kind of want to sprinkle Paul Craig by TKO for shits and gigs for old time's sake. I got to pick Bellato, but I kind of hate him.
I mean, I feel you on certain things. Like in that fight with Crute in the first minute, he goes, I think, for a lat drop, and then he ends up on his back in full mount. And obviously those are spots you don't want to be against someone like Paul Craig. Like, man, when you look at Paul Craig's resume, it's insane some of the wins that he has. The current champion, Magomed Ankalaev, the former champion, Jamal Hill, top 5 contender, Nikita Krylov, current top 15 heavyweight, Kennedy Nzechukwu. So like, and he finished all of them, right? So Paul Craig,
how crazy is that?
He's dangerous. The thing about it is, didn't Rodolfo get his black belt from the Nogueira brothers? Is that true? I'm pretty sure he's a Nogueira brothers black belt. So right away, that kind of gives me pause to think that he'll get tapped out in this spot. But man, he's like a walking punching bag, and he takes a while to ease into fights. But the thing about it is there's not much of a threat standing from Craig. So I'm not sure if Craig will be able to exploit that. So what I kind of think is that Bellato, he's going to kind of just be like a Brazilian marauder, overhand rights, left hooks, calf kicks, sprawl on the takedown attempts, and kind of bust up Paul Craig. But, obviously I'm not crazy about these odds. Isn't it like minus 350 to minus 500-esque?
Yeah, it's another big one, man. Minus 375 for Bellato, plus 295, plus 300 for Paul Craig.
When they were scheduled to fight like a couple weeks ago, I think it was like minus 500 and minus 550. So, I mean, I'm not saying that minus 375 is value or anything. I'm just curious why? Why is it not minus 550 again? Why was it minus 550 to begin with? So it's a tough one. Yeah, sure. I'll lean Bellato just because I feel like Paul Craig's kind of been figured out a bit, but Bellato is no safe pick in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the bookies, man. You got to give that that break there for the AIDS, right? Like a 2-week turnaround when you've got some kind of infection. They're like, okay, can't have you be minus 500 now. No, it's the worst thing in the world, man. When you miss an opportunity at a bet and then the bookies get an opportunity to reschedule and reline the fight, you're always going to get the short end of the deal on that situation. So interesting to see that they went ahead and moved it that way. Rooting my ass off for Paul Craig, man. One more. Give us one more big upset. One more meme, Paul Craig. Do it for the people. All right, guys, real quick. Got to shout out Spectation Sports. I talked about it a little bit off at the top. You know, it's funny, man. Malcolm Wellmaker, I know he's your boy. Spectation Sports actually co-promoted his very first fight. So he's technically, you know, kind of a Spectation athlete. And now Kris Moutinho, he was over at Cage Titans after the UFC. So he's a Spectation athlete. Those boys are going head to head this week. So a little bit of a bummer and nobody to really root for in that one, with both of them having a little bit of a connection. But if you guys haven't checked out Spectation Sports, make sure you do. They are the fastest growing team when it comes to regional MMA shows. They're building an absolute massive book of different organizations and regional fights. North Iowa fights this weekend coming to you. Next week is Synergy FC 21. BTC was just this past weekend, and it was crazy, man. If you were watching BTC, they had, like, no joke, like 8 fights in a row that ended in the first round. I love regional MMA. It's fantastic. And if you guys do sign up, if you want to use it for research purposes, lots of Dana White's Contender Series fighters coming out of these shows. Promo code DIEHARD will get you 20% off your subscription. So make sure you use that when you sign up. And it's a product you guys are going to want to have a piece of moving forward. My man Dan joins me here to talk about UFC Atlanta. Make sure you're giving him a follow. Half the Battle is the name of the show. He's one of the longest and best podcasts in the game. He's a wonderful human being. So make sure you guys are supporting my man Dan. And we're breaking down the fights here for you. So let's get on back into it. Next up, we got some big boys. Alonzo Atomic Minifield takes on Oumar C. And dude, when is the shoe going to drop for me here? Because Alonzo Minifield's a guy I've been talking a lot of shit about, and I keep trying to bet against, and he just keeps on showing up and winning. Like, I've got to tip my cap. 16-5-1, 37 years old.
Whoa, hold on. He's 37 already?
He's 37.
Oh my God. I remember when he was just like that. Do you remember when he just came up on Contender Series and, like, didn't he have a couple Contender Series fights? I know Kennedy did, but man, I remember when Alonzo first came up. No, wait, no, he knocked out that dude Boatwright in like 8 seconds. So I'm sure he got signed right off the bat then.
That was his second though, man. He had a first one. It was
so he did have two. Okay, I was right. Yeah. Man, it's been a while, dude. That's crazy.
He had like a weird eye poke situation where it got
yeah, dude.
Cold.
I see why I'm not remembering. We're approaching damn 10 years since then. That's wild.
So yeah, he's been around for a long time, man. Sorry, the wife is texting me about dinner stuff. So yeah,
everything okay? You need me to take over?
Yeah, I mean, maybe need you to take over the kitchen. She's cooking, so you. No, man. So yeah, I've been all aboard, trying to get on the other side of Alonzo Minifield. But frankly, he's turned this thing into a career. He had a hell of a run, and they kept giving him winnable fights. And then every once in a while, he would grease one out that I didn't think he could. And props to the guy, And speaking of greasing one out, our man Julius Walker. I thought Julius got that fight. I thought Julius was going to finish him. Short notice. Bug got him a little bit there in that one, but what are you going to do? Now he's taking on Oumar C. It feels like the UFC always gives these guys their best crack at it. You get a couple of decent matches, you get a couple short notice guys, and then they go, okay, enough playing around. They're giving you Oumar C, 11-0, undefeated, 29 years old, Bulgarian top team product here. He's 2-0 in the UFC. Didn't come from Dana White's Contender Series. They just straight signed this kid. And these days, that means something to me, Dan. These days, when they just sign you and you're not filling in for somebody on short notice, that's somebody the UFC tends to like, right? This guy's grappling game is absolutely phenomenal. Quick back takes, good blast double legs. He's got big power. He's got nasty jiu-jitsu. Like, big men don't usually move like this on the ground. I love everything that I'm seeing from Oumar C. And I bet on Julius Walker big time to beat Alonzo Minifield in that last fight, because even though Alonzo's big and he's heavy and he's hard to take down, you can still get dominant position on him. And then it's a lot of gas to get back from that. He slows down in every fight. He gets tired. If you can avoid that nuke early in the fight, you can just wear on this guy. And again, Julius Walker on a full camp, Julius Walker with one more UFC fight under his belt, run this back. He smokes this guy. It wasn't his night that night. Oumar Sy is going to finish the job that my guy Julius couldn't. I think he's going to get Alonzo Menifield out of there. I'm going to say round 2. I'll give Alonzo the benefit here and say that he doesn't get stuck in round 1. But frankly, if Oumar Sy gets his back early, it could be wraps, man. I think Oumar Sy is going to get it done impressively. He's minus 575 at this point. The total is 1.5. They are leaning ever so slightly to the over, so that kind of jives with my round 2 vibe here. But I like Oumar Sy a lot this week.
Yeah, firstly, shout out Juicebox, man. I heard him on your show and seems like a great guy. And he's obviously awesome. It's super cool when fighters break down fights. Last week I had Malcolm Wellmaker break down UFC 315 with me. Was it 315 or 316? Whichever one Marav O'Malley fought at. 316. But yeah, so it's cool to see like fighters coming on shows like ours and breaking down the fights with us. So I really enjoy seeing that. And I agree with you. If Julius was a little bit less green, just because that fight just was like a battle of, it was a matter of inches, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, a little bit more experience, and I think he wins that fight too. As far as Oumar Sy, man, he's gonna have a massive reach advantage in this spot, big height advantage, big age advantage. But the interesting kind of caveat here is that Alonzo Menifield has really good takedown defense, like close to that 80% takedown defense, which you rarely see. So this fight stays standing, it'll get kind of interesting. Obviously, C's got a big reach advantage, and he's got big power too, but he's mostly known for his grappling. Now I know in that last fight against my boy, what's the name of my former Korean prospect, the light heavyweight,
Asian Connor? Dawoon Jung. There's a new Asian Connor, by the way, after this past week.
My boy Japanese Connor, first of all, whatever happened to him. So the thing about my boy Japanese Connor is like, he goes to Contender Series, right? He kills his whole regional scene. His only loss, he gets DQ'd because he stomped the guy out cold. And he has the nastiest pull counter on Contender Series. I'm like, damn, this is a guy. Nope, it wasn't a guy. But Dawoon Jung, I thought was a guy too, man. Like
I thought Dawoon Jung was a guy too.
Dude, he was on a 5-fight win streak. It was looking like, all right, this is like the real like big boy Asian prospect. And after he lost to Jacoby, he just was never the same ever again. And speaking of Jacoby, I was like surprised Menifield got that upset over Jacoby. He was like losing the majority of the fight, but he had those big moments right when he needed them.
But I called it a robbery.
I feel you. No, I feel you. And I think that Jacoby won, like, if you're just talking about who won the most minutes, yeah, Jacoby. But like, it's just those big moments from Menifield really swayed the judges. And you just can't like get knocked down or wobble badly, even if you're dominating the entire round. So those are the things to be concerned about, especially when we're talking about a price like, what are we talking about here?
Minus 575.
Yeah, minus 575. So you have to be aware that Menifield cracks. Oumar Sy hasn't truly been tested, but he seems like a decent enough prospect to get past someone like Menifield, like our boy Julius Walker, your boy Julius Walker, who's only 6-0 at the time. He almost did. I think someone who has a little bit more experience, like Sy, seems a little bit, like he's kind of entering his prime right now. I'm gonna go see. I mean, look, it doesn't take a genius to pick a minus 550, but yeah, I'm gonna pick him, and I hope it's violent. I'm gonna be in attendance, so I want to see violence, my friends. So let's see it.
There you go. No, I think you're getting your violence, man. And yeah, shout out my boy Juicebox. He's already got a fight booked, you guys, coming up. We know what's going on. He's got Rafael Sequeira coming up here in a couple of months, so we will be absolutely going to war with our boy Julius. And I just want to point out, though, man, this one's tough for me because it should be Oumar Sy. It should be Oumar Sy by finish. It should be a destruction. But I picked Jimmy Crute back-to-back against Menifield. We got a draw and an L. I picked Dustin Jacoby. I feel like he got robbed that night. We got an L. I did pick Carlos Ulberg, but at that point, I was still a non-believer, so I thought there was some, maybe a dog shot on Menifield. He got smoked in that fight. Azamat Mirzakhanov, I think that's the one I got right. But then I picked Julius Walker, who lost a split decision. So I seriously am like 1-5 for the last 6 fights of Alonzo Menifield's career.
Hey, Marshall! You ever get tired of being wrong? I do! I really do, but I'm tired!
I'm sick and tired of being wrong here, man. Oumar Sy needs to go out there and get me this finish, get me this sub, because I swear I can't handle another L to Alonzo freaking Atomic Menafield. All right, guys, we got a couple more fights to break down here. If you haven't hit that like button, please do. We're nearing in 600 live viewers on all those platforms. And like I say every time, you guys, we're building something here on YouTube. So if you're watching on something else, if you're over on X, if you're over on, any of the other streaming platforms, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Head on over to YouTube, get subscribed, hit the like button for me. I'm doing 3 shows minimum per week, so come hang out for sure. Next up, we've got Cody Brundage, and he takes on Mansur Abdul-Malik. And dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to say thank you for your service and rest in peace, Cody Brundage. It is, man, they are putting this man to rest. I looked at Cody's record and I was actually surprised. It looks a whole lot better on paper than it is in real life, man. He is 3-1-1 in his last 5. Now, the Malkoon DQ has a special little place in my heart because I cashed the 20-1 ticket on that one. The Zach Reese round 1 KO has a special place in my heart because that was the beginning of my new favorite angle, and that's just blindly betting Cody Brundage by round 1 KO, TKO, or DQ, making sure that you have the DQ as a leg in that bet, because some places like FanDuel chop that DQ leg right off there and they charge you for it. So we got 2 big cashes back to back with Cody Brundage. And then actually I did really well, man. We got the Bo Nickel round 2 pick, and that was one of the moments where I really called out Bo Nickel for being fraudulent, because real prospects finished this man in the first round. You can't be taking Cody Brundage to round 2. He snaked his way out of the Abdul Razak Al Hassan fight, and they said, no, we ain't doing that shit again. Even though I was sitting there with another round 1 KO, TKO, or DQ ticket, they did the right thing by calling that a no contest instead, unfortunately. And then he actually got a legitimate win in round 1 against Julian Marquez. I'm telling you guys, the best betting angle in the UFC today is Cody Brundage round 1 KO, TKO, or DQ. It's hitting 3 of his last 5 fights, and you best damn well believe he's gonna try again against Mansur Abdul-Malik. This kid is 8-0. He is 27 years old. He's training out of MMA Masters. He is built different. This guy is an absolute freak of nature. He's going to tower over Cody Brundage. And, I would say Cody's probably a decent enough wrestler that he might be able to buy some time. He might be able to mix it up. He might be able to make him wrestle, tire him out, drag him deep, give him that young, early vet lesson. The problem is Cody can hit takedowns. He can't control people. He's never been able to control people. He's like a big one singular, what does Deadpool always say? Maximum effort. Like, he gives one thing a go and it's his best he's got, and he'll hit a double leg on you, but then you can get back up if you want to. He's not a control guy. And when Mansur gets up, just 1 or 2 of those big bombs, man, we have seen how badly Cody reacts in those situations. He's going to cover up. He's going to go fetal. Like, this thing's going to be over in a hurry, Dan. I can see it now. It's got to be Mansur, and it's got to be round 1. But just spread that round 1 KO, TKO, or DQ on Cody, because it's been printing, baby. Dan, what do you make of this fight? What are you doing here, man?
Yeah, I mean, you only have to hit that bet one time to cover how many losses, you know what
and
I'm saying?
Hit it 3.
Right. So you're already, you're good in that respect. Now, man, I'm really blessed to attend this card because, in my opinion, the best middleweight prospect in the sport and the best bantamweight prospect in the sport are on this card. And the fact that I get to see it in person, I'm really grateful. And, I've been seeing a lot of stuff recently talking about how the UFC was so much better 10, 15 years ago and all this. And, if I wasn't around back then, I might not know if that was true or not. But since I was around back then, I know for a fact that it's not true, because the top middleweight prospects 10, 15 years ago, like 15 years ago, dude, Dennis Kang, Alan Belcher, like Patrick Cote, like, dude, you can't compare
Patrick Cote.
Okay, he's the man and he fought for a title, but like I'm saying, those were the top prospects back in the day. The top prospects nowadays is Mansur Abdul-Malik. And what's great about this is, like, you think guys like, okay, they come into the UFC with like a D1 wrestling background, but like they don't have anything else. So it's like, usually you come in with that wrestling background, that's about it. You got to learn the striking. Dude, this guy has like literally, this guy's like a creative fighter. D1 wrestling credentials, looks like Francis Ngannou, hits like Francis Ngannou. You hear him talk. He's highly intelligent. I mean, I like everything about Mansur Abdul-Malik. Now, as far as Cody Brundage, he's actually not a bad fighter. He just doesn't believe in himself is the issue. And you said that last fight against Marquez, listen, man, there was a weird thing with the mouthpiece there. That
was like a Pereira Jamal Hill situation going on.
I don't know. I felt like you run that fight 10 times. I'm not saying Cody doesn't win a majority of them, but I'm just saying Marquez definitely knocks him out a few of those times they run it, because he seemed like that. They were just going back and forth. It seemed like it could have gone either way. So, I mean, my only concern here is obviously the price is massive. And Mansur, he actually has been dropped in fights before because, like, this guy believes in himself. Basically, if we're going to put it on a spectrum of like Cody Brundage to 100, Mansur is at 100, and Cody Brundage is at Cody Brundage, right? So when you talk about self-belief, it's not even close. But that being said, Brundage, look, he's got a wrestling background, he's got power, he's got a decent guillotine, he's fought in the UFC multiple times. So like that experience like can't be scoffed at. But all that being said, I'm still bringing my baseball glove to Phillips Arena to make sure I catch Cody Brundage's head when Mansur Abdul-Malik comes out here and uppercuts him, into the 10th row.
Where's your seat, though?
Second row of second floor, section 209, like Diaz. So let's go.
You got a shot then, though, man. If you're second row, you ain't catching it because his head is going further than that. So if you're second row, second floor, you might get that thing. He's gonna launch that thing like a freaking t-shirt. Like,
dude, like I got the baseball glove. I'm putting like the ball inside the rubber bands overnight so that it's like broken in when it's time to go to the arena. We're gonna be ready, Clint. Don't worry.
I love it. No, man, I love what you said, though, because really Cody Brundage is a confidence-based fighter, and you can see it leave his body. The second he's not the hammer, it's over. And when he fought freaking the Cuban Missile Crisis, dude, I thought he was seconds away from going down. He was covering up. He was backing up. It was over. We had already won the mental battle. And I say we like I was in there with my boy Cuban. But he actually got a break. And because he got a moment to collect himself, that set up the finish for him. I thought he was done. I thought he was done, dead and over. And he somehow weaseled his way out, man. This guy keeps finding a way to do it. And it's going to be real interesting to see. I don't know what his contract looks like, but it's going to be real interesting to see what happens after this fight. Because like I said, on paper, he looks like he's 3-1-1. So taking an L here, it's not like he's necessarily going to get his walking papers either. So, I mean, you do you, Cody, man. He's already paid for that turkey hair transplant. I've been trying to hit a parlay to pull that shit off, and he's paid for it with blood and guts in the UFC. So, who's really doing the work here? Congrats, Cody. Your new head of hair. You're good to go, buddy. You're good to go. All right, let's move on to the next fight, man. We've got Cody Garbrandt. He's taking on Hani Barcelos, and we're back in my weight class, man. So I gotta get the crown going here because once again, as always, I'm your king of the bantamweight division, my friends. And I got a bone to pick with Hani. Because I've been talking about how well-rounded this guy is for years. I've been trying to tell people sneaky good Barcelos is. For you know what? If this guy got his crack in his prime, like he could have given whoever had the belt that night fits. He legitimately is a fighter who would be able to give someone a hard time on his best night, but he would never wrestle. And that was always the thing. He's got this wrestling and this jiu-jitsu in his back pocket that he could always rely on if he really wanted to, but he just never did it. So he goes on this run where he gets messed up by guys like Victor Henry because he doesn't wrestle. And then he comes out and he wrestles my boy Peyton Talbot. Like, man, like, that's my prospect. That's my boy. That's the guy I circled that I'm like, you got to watch this kid. And that's when Hani Barcelos decides to come out and wrestle, right when my boy Peyton is my Lord. So now you've got what's that? Was I gone?
Yeah, you're doing a little roboting, but I think you're back now.
Oh, internet is killing me, man. Internet's killing me. It costs so damn much, and then they mess up my breakdowns. Get your shit together, Cox. All right. Anyway, so Hani Barcelos out wrestles Peyton. Biggest upset of the year. Absolutely crushes my soul. Big Peyton fan. Had the kid being my prospect of the century, right? So Hani's on this nice little 2-fight win streak now at this point, and really it's the haves and have-nots with Raoni Barcelos, because he loses to Oumar. Everyone's losing to Oumar. Kyler Phillips, like, as much as he's not the guy, like he's a contender, and then he gets wins over Lando Quinones, and then he pulls off this massive upset against Peyton Talbot. So you're really getting solidified here that Raoni, even at this ripe old age of he's 38 years old, is still a mid to upper tier guy. He's still a gatekeeper type of guy. Now Cody Garbrandt, 14-6, 33 years old. This man had the fastest rise and fall in modern MMA history for one night, Dan. For one night, he was the best fighter on planet Earth. This man danced circles against a prime Dominic Cruz. It was unbelievable what he did that night. And then he completely fell off. Like, he was never the same ever again. TJ Shock. I got back-to-back KO props on that, man, that were just that really was the beginning of my King of Bantamweight run, when everybody was all in on Cody and I was betting TJ Dillashaw in back-to-back fights, getting KO props cash, man. That was what started. That's what earned me this crown. So Cody Garbrandt's a guy that, I'll be honest with you, I know there's fighters that are brash. There's fighters that get out there and they get headlines and they're confident, they're cocky, Conor McGregor types, right? Like, and people love them, especially when they can back it up. I've always felt like Cody Garbrandt was a bully. You know, like I said, he had his brief shiny moment, but he's always been a dick. And then he's getting his ass whooped by guys he's talking all kinds of shit to. And so I've kind of enjoyed, as a fan, I've kind of enjoyed hating on Cody Garbrandt, and I've enjoyed betting against him in situations like Davison Figueiredo in his last fight, where he got taken down and tapped out extremely quickly by a much smaller man. I think Cody's shot, dude. And now he's out here getting eyelid knife tattoos. Like, the decision-making is out the window for this guy. You can't make this shit up. So if you've got any type of wrestling chops, I think you take him down. If you've got any kind of power, I think you can clip that chin. The problem is he's incredibly athletic. He's so fast. And honestly, his hands are really, really good. He can box. Raoni is a guy that's very difficult to knock out. Only one man's ever done it, and that's my boy Oumar. Oumar's the only one that's been able to knock him out, and he disguised that thing behind a gorgeous knee. So I don't even want to hold that one too badly against Raoni here. Believe it or not, I feel like the old man is the one who's got a little more gas in the tank here, Dan. You might have a spot where Cody Garbrandt makes me pay for this because he's Cody Garbrandt, and he's the younger fighter, and he's the faster fighter, and speed makes a huge, huge difference. And now that I'm just verbalizing that, speed kills, man. That's a big factor that you do not want to overlook in this fight. Raoni's a minus 185 favorite, plus 155 to come back on Cody Garbrandt. I wouldn't be shocked if Raoni actually gets in there and knocks this man out, because Cody will concede to power, and if you make him uncomfortable, he will have a difficult time in there. But I also can recall the Trevin Jones fight where he danced circles around that guy because he just wasn't able to close the distance and find him, being the smoother, the quicker athlete. If he's got that kind of footwork and speed on Saturday night against Raoni, he probably wins the fight. He'll be able to stay safe. He'll be able to dance. If Raoni comes in there with his wrestling shoes on and starts throwing some heavies, I think Raoni wins this fight by knockout. It's extremely volatile, Dan. This is one where I'm having a tough time even wearing this crown. Heavy is the crown in this particular fight because it's so volatile. At the end of the day, I think for old time and haters' sake, I'm going to say Raoni wins this fight by knockout. But I'm not, guys, this is a very low confidence here. Don't bet this fight. This one might be a decent live opportunity because you'll be able to know real quick in round one who's actually got it. But I'll say Raoni, not touching minus 185 though.
Yeah, Garbrandt's interesting because you think about his fight against Dominic Cruz as like, I mean, the way people regard that performance isn't just like Cody Garbrandt's best performance. Some people act like that was the best UFC performance they've ever seen. And I just can't get behind that line of thinking for a variety of reasons. Like, I think that people were mesmerized by the fact that, like, so Cody Garbrandt would drop Cruz and then he'd do the robot. He'd like, and at the time, Cody had made an ass of himself, like in the lead up to that fight. So everyone was counting Cody out. Everyone thought that Cruz was just going to run over him. And Cruz was talking insane amounts of shit leading up to it. Like, people were like, I remember one of my best friends who doesn't even watch UFC was texting me about how, like, bro, I love Dominic Cruz. I love the way he's tearing this kid up. And like, man, Dominic Cruz owned Cody in the lead up and verbally, but man, when it came time to fight, like you said, he had that once in a lifetime performance, but that once in a lifetime performance, it's like less than 70 significant strikes over 5 rounds. He just fights at such a low pace. And you bring up that Victor Henry fight, dude, in that 3-round fight that Raoni had with Victor Henry, they each landed more than Cody did in his 5-round fight with Cruz. You know what I mean? Like, just the pace that
boys were swinging.
I mean, like, Victor landed something like 300 significant strikes, or attempted. I don't remember off the top. I think he attempted like 300 or something. It's been a while, but it was a ridiculous number and more than all of Cody Garbrandt's fights. And the thing about Cody, like you said, he's got fast hands. He's actually a D1 wrestler. I'm not sure if you know that, but like, you can't really tell because he's kind of stiff, right? Like, he had this back surgery. He had to go to Europe to get the back injections. And it seems like ever since then, the wrestling hasn't really been at the forefront. I mean, don't get me wrong. In that Trevin Jones fight, he did have a really nice takedown there. He like a nice blast double there, but like, it's few and far between, right? And we even saw in that Davison fight, he can be taken down. He can be submitted. Now, props to Cody for surviving that arm triangle. I have no idea how he did, but he eventually succumbed to the rear naked choke. Here, Raoni, firstly, I'm not off the Peyton Talbot train at all, man. He's only 26 years old. He's a kid. He's a kid, bro. Wait till Peyton comes back. And I hope that people think he's a fraud, that fraud check, this and that. The way I view it is, he was a 26-year-old kid that had to take his first L. No one's exempt from that first L. Show me what Peyton Talbot looks like when he's 28 to 30. I think he's going to be a monster. So I hope I get a good price on Peyton in his next fight. That being said, Raoni, I'm not sure if he's going to have the same takedown success here against Cody. And then on the feet, I think either guy could get knocked out. But where I do think that Raoni is going to have some sneaky success is with calf kicks. For whatever reason, Cody has not caught up to the calf kicks yet. And like, I think that's also a blessing and a curse in a way. Like, that's like, him planting so heavy on his feet is why he's able to generate the power he is. But at the same time, you watch that Pedro Munoz fight. Why did Cody Garbrandt go full you-know-what in that fight? It wasn't because Pedro Munoz
go full Gustafsson.
Exactly. It's not because Pedro hit him with a couple shots to the chin and pissed him off. It was actually because Pedro Munoz chopped his calf to the point where Cody had to make a decision. It's either go kamikaze right here, right now, and knock this guy out, or my leg's about to give out on me. So that's why
a slow death. He had to go.
So that's why he went full you-know-what against Pedro. If he goes full you-know-what here, I'm curious because both of their chins are suspect. Raoni's 38, man. You know, like, I think Raoni's going to win. I think Raoni's more well-rounded. What's up?
Riley went deep. It hit the wall. We were right there. I'm sorry.
Oh, we missed. Oh, fuck.
He missed.
But the game ain't over. Game ain't over.
Game ain't over. But I thought that was it, man. I thought we had it.
Hey, in a different park, that was it. In a different park, that was it. Yep. But yeah, my boy Raoni's 38. That's my concern. But that being said, I do think he has more paths to victory, right? I think he's the more well-rounded guy here. Like, yeah, Cody is a D1 wrestler, but Raoni is a Brazilian national wrestling champ. And he's not just any black belt. He's a black belt under his dad, who's a corral belt, which is like a black and red belt, which means that's like a 7th or 8th degree black belt, which means you have to be a black belt for like 40 years before you even get that shit. Like, meaning like, I might die by the time I'm eligible to get my corral belt. Do you understand what I'm saying, bro? I'm in my 30s right now. I'm a purple belt. I hope I get my black belt in these next 5 years, right? Let's say I do. Okay. Then I have to wait another 40 years to get that corral belt. Yeah, that shit ain't happening, dog. So I'm probably never getting a corral belt. This man that gave Raoni his black belt is a corral belt, and he's still alive. So the grappling credentials are just so high for Raoni. But I am worried about his chin, just like I'm worried about Cody's chin. But I think the calf kicks are going to be what leans me over to Raoni here. I'm going to go Raoni for the win.
Okay. Well, we're linking up here on this one again then, man. Both of us are going to go ahead and pick Raoni in this spot. I love a good hate watch, and I'm going to be hate watching here because I've always had a problem with Cody Garbrandt. I do have to shout out my guy Tim again, though, because he said that he was actually on the Raoni Barcelos upset. Plus 900, looked minus 500. What a bet that was, man. You guys are absolutely insane. Yeah, good stuff. And I got to shout out Dixon as well. Ronald Acuna went to the wall and he said, I told y'all. Dixon, I got to apologize, man.
Did he know Ronnie?
Ronnie did. It's 1-1.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
Dixon, I didn't see that you said that, man. I would have tailed. You know me. I would have thrown $5 on it. I had no idea. I didn't even see that you said that. So I apologize, man. I would have been there with you, but great call. Great call.
Hell
All
yeah.
right, guys.
Let's go.
Let's go. Next fight up, we have got Edmen Shahbazyan taking on Andre Petroski. Another weird one, man. I feel like what's with the matchmaking these days? I feel like almost every single fight is really strange right now. It's almost, and now that I'm saying it, I'm kind of figuring it out. It's almost like the UFC is trying to facilitate highlights. I know, shocker, right? The business wants highlight reel opportunities, but it makes it real tough for betting because it's like, okay, so Edmen Shahbazyan is KO or bust. He's a round one machine. He's massive for the weight class. He's huge, but his cardio is god awful. So if he doesn't get you out of there in round one, he is tapping in round two no matter what. So they keep giving him jiu-jitsu guys. Every single fight Edmen is in, it's against the damn jiu-jitsu guy. And it's like, okay, so he's going to knock him dead in round one, right? Or the only other option is he's tapping out in round two. And with a guy like Andre Petroski, this man got knocked out by Jacob Malkoun's right hip. And I'm not joking. Like, you don't have durability issues like that and make it through round one with Edmen Shahbazyan. So
did we, hey, real quick, did we ever hear what happened there? Did he get like a stinger? Like, what happened there? Do you know?
They never really talked about it. It was just one of those things that happened and we kind of moved on. Like,
right.
He legit, and you can slow it down. You can watch the replay.
I know.
It was his hip bone, and he gets, it's like the jaw or like kind of the back of the neck that, like, I don't know if he was sick. I don't know if this guy's got like a health problem or he got hit exactly on the button somehow.
Probably got
by
rocked.
a hip bone.
It rocked him. That's got to be the answer, you know?
And he just like stumbles down to all fours. It was the weirdest hit I've ever seen in my life. At any rate, though, even if you just get touched on the button, man, I'm not trusting your durability if a hip is getting you out of there. So I've always kind of long time had a issue with Andre Petroski. I will give him his flowers, though. I did not think he was out grappling Rodolfo Vieira. I figured if you're going to go in there in a 15-minute fight with Rodolfo and your best game plan is, I'm a decent wrestler with a BJJ black belt, Rodolfo is going to eat you for breakfast. So impressed that he squeaked out that last win. It was close. It was contested. It was a lot of striking for guys who really should be grappling. But congrats. He got the dub and got himself on a 3-fight win streak somehow, believe it or not. So he's on a good little run here. But, man, I think the bills come due. This is Edmen Shahbazyan. It's going to be Edmen, knee up the middle, head kick season. But, guys, be ready. Be ready. I told you all to be ready when he fought Gerald Meerschaert, and you could have gotten like 11-1, and then that number was gone in about 5 seconds. So as soon as this fight hits the ground, if it gets to round 2, Edmen's a dead man walking. If Andre has any grappling success, Edmen's a dead man walking. He's never figured out his cardio. He's never figured out his submission defense. He's the worst nail. No, he's not, because Cody Brundage is on this card. He's the second worst nail on this entire UFC event. So Andre Petroski, round 2, round 3 sub, they're live. But I think Edmen Shahbazyan is going to knock this guy's head not quite as far as Cody's. So we'll say first row, second row. A couple of fans are going to get some take homes this weekend.
So like I should lean over the balcony and drop my glove to a fan is what you're saying.
Yeah, get somebody set up because you're going to get yours and then someone else is going to need that glove.
I mean, I think we know what the deal here is. It's just about which of the outcomes is it, right? Is it the Edmen Shahbazyan first round KO, or does he sell out for the first round KO and then break in the second and third round and potentially get subbed or grinded out? Now, I know what I want to see as I'm attending this event. We don't want to see no lay and pray. We want to see people get knocked the you-know-what out. So I'm going Edmen Shahbazyan via first round knockout.
I like it. Yeah, man, I think that's it. That's one we can save a little bit of time on. But like I said, everybody have your apps open and have your Clint ready to go. Have your thumb ready to go on that live bet button because it'll be right there. Next up, we've got Rose Thug Namajunas, and she takes on Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick. I don't know how I got Maverick out of that. That was weird.
Well, you also said Rose Thug instead of Thug Rose.
God, I am just, that shows how much I care about this fight. Man, this one's tough. I'll be honest with you. Miranda Maverick is somebody who I can't quite get around to. She's a little undersized for the weight class, even though she's thick as hell. Don't get me wrong. She's got all kinds of muscle on that frame, but she is a one-trick pony. She's a wrestler. She's a wrestler. And if you are somebody who's suspect, she'll get you out of there with a submission. Round 2, round 3, my girl Priscilla Cachoeira, who can't grapple to save her life. But these other people that are half decent on the ground, she's just going to hang on you. She's just going to work you for 15 minutes. That's it. We'll see a decision. Shawnee Young, Andrea Lee, Diana Barbosa, Jamey-Lyn Horth, they're all terrible fights. And you're just going to sit there and watch Miranda get on top of her and patiently find her next position. And she is going to get buried by the UFC. If she doesn't get by Thug Rose, she is going to get absolutely buried because she's boring and they don't want her anywhere near the rankings or the title, even though she's good enough to be in that conversation. If she doesn't get some finishing equity, man, they're going to do her dirty. You watch. Now, Rose is a legend. 13-7. She's 32? That can't be right. Like, she's 32 years old, man. How has Rose reached the pinnacle of the sport twice? And she's just now still in her prime? Like, it's insane to me what she has accomplished by this stage.
In fight year, she ain't no 32, though.
In fight years, she ain't no 32. That is the truth. And she's looked that recently. She just took an L to Erin Blanchfield, and this fight looks like a kind of rerunning that, man. You know, if you got someone who's Erin Blanchfield B-, that's Miranda Maverick. She did get the win against Tracy Cortez. I thought Cortez was going to pull off the upset in that fight. It was competitive, but at the end of the day, Rose won it pretty clearly. Unfortunately, even through, bet goggles, I still have to admit that Tracy didn't really do well enough in that fight. She fought well with Manon Fiorot. She beat Amanda Hebos. The striking and footwork of Rose is something that can't really be questioned. Her get-up game is solid. Her takedown defense is decent. I just think she's going to get bullied here, man. I think Miranda Maverick is too strong. And once she gets her mitts on her, that's going to be too much. And even with Rose's good takedown defense and even with Rose's good footwork, I kind of feel like she's going to end up getting crammed up against the fence and just put on her back and worn out. And I want Rose to win this fight. But the Miranda Maverick decision is just like, I'm almost ready to pull the upset card on this one here, man. What do you make of this fight? I have zero confidence on this one because I've gotten Rose wrong way too much recently, and I don't really want to cheer for Miranda Maverick. So what do you got here?
I need you and the chat's opinion. Listen, you know how I was talking earlier about how, like, I think the sport is better now than it's ever been, and people are, going on their little virtue signaling tours and whatnot. And I mentioned how Mansur Abdul-Malik is the top middleweight prospect of today, whereas, like, Dennis Kang and Patrick Cote and Alan Belcher were the top middleweight prospects of back in the day, right? Okay, so I attended UFC 201 in Atlanta, right? Okay, what was the main event and what was the co-main event? Main event was Robbie Lawler versus Tyron Woodley. This main event for a fight night, and that was a pay-per-view, mind you. This main event for a fight night is Usman versus Buckley. Is Woodley versus Lawler that much better versus Usman versus Buckley? Okay, what was the co-main event? For 201 was Rose Namajunas versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz, which I actually cashed a plus 215 on Karolina Kowalkiewicz. This fight night co-main event is Rose versus Maverick. Now, I need y'all to talk to me because obviously I'm not high on Rose, never have been, never will be. I respect her, of course. She's very, very talented. But you have to be on a certain level to beat her. Is Miranda Maverick on that level? I'm just not convinced. I want to be convinced. I like these odds, and I like my history betting against Rose, especially in Atlanta. It's just like Miranda just doesn't do it for me, right? Like, she's got no hands whatsoever. But at the same time, man, I've seen fights where, like, Rose doesn't even throw, where Rose stares at her opponent. The threat of the takedown is way too much for her. But then I've also seen Rose go out there and win the first 2 rounds against Erin Blanchfield. So it's like, I don't know. And plus, she's got that complete weirdo Pat Barry in her corner. I can't get behind that. So, like, I mean, like, skill for skill, I think Rose should win. But if y'all give me a good argument for Miranda, please let me know. I'm on Twitter at Best Fight Picks. My DMs are open because, like I said, that Karolina plus 215 against Rose in the co-main at 201, that was one of my favorite underdog bets ever. I'm just not sure Miranda is on that level, but if y'all can convince me she is, I'll pick her. But until you do, I'll take Rose Namajunas, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm with you there too, man. And I think 5 rounds versus 3 rounds, that makes such a huge difference here.
And they used to train together, which is interesting. So, like, Maverick, she seems kind of two-faced as fuck. Like, she talked about how, like, well, I got everything I could have out of the training sessions. Now I'm going to go beat her. Like, it's like, damn, like, you, like, literally went to this girl's, like, hometown, absorbed all her secrets. Now you're going to go fight her in a co-main event. Hey, listen, the fight game is brutal, man, but let's see if it pays off or not.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Cause with those training room fights, I always say it, one person thinks, the other one knows. Yeah, and you never know because both of them are going to be smiling in each other's faces. The stare down's going to be good. There'll be that betrayal, that heat. But yeah, one of them knows they're going to win this fight, and picking up on the physical tells and cues, maybe that can send you the right direction here in this fight. But dude, I think Rowe's losing the late rounds to somebody like Erin Blanchfield. You know, that kind of leads me to believe that in a 15-minute fight, she'll be able to do what it takes to get Miranda Maverick off of her. So Rowe's by boring decision, Miranda, decent odds to pull the upset off. I don't know why we're still talking about this fight. All right, guys, it is the main event of the evening and one that we are very excited to break down for you. First and foremost, I want to shout out my my co-pilot here for the evening, Dan from Half the Battle. If you guys have not checked him out, please make sure you do. Support the man, follow him, check out his show, and then get subscribed here if you haven't yet. Hit the like button because there's almost 700 of you chilling in here live on a Monday night. Let's talk about Kamaru Usman and Joaquin Buckley. My lord, it has been a long time since we've seen my boy Kamaru Usman. And I say my boy, he's not my boy. He's never been my boy. That's Kamaru Usman and Khabib was the era of me trying to fade the GOAT, Stan. That was every single time Kamaru and Khabib got in there, I was like, I think this guy's got a shot. Like, I don't know what it was. I kept waiting for the downfall of one of these legends, and Kamaru just kept doing the damn thing. I famously laid chalk on Tyron Woodley when Kamaru took the belt from him that night. Like, I've had a real tough time with Kamaru. Now, he's on a 3-fight skid here. Actually looked decent against Khamzat, considering everyone's been talking about Kamaru and his knees for years and years and years. The wrestling is something that he can't keep up with. He's kind of falling apart physically, but somehow he's still the best welterweight on planet Earth. And he goes out there and he has wars with guys like Colby Covington and just makes them look silly. And I thought Colby was going to be the one to get him out of there, man. I really did. And he just dominated that man multiple times over. He had Leon Edwards right where he wanted him. The whole Leon championship experience was a thing that probably never should have happened, because in their first fight, Leon was gifted a stand-up by the UFC ref. I want to say it was Herb Dean that night. I mean, we're talking a minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. It might have been under a minute. It might have been like 40 seconds on the clock or something. Usman has Leon dead to rights. The ref steps in, stands him up, boom, head kick. The rest is history. I mean, it was a head kick that never should have been available to him. And even throwing the head kick, it's like a 1% chance deep in round 5 that you're going to land on the button. And he did. So all props to Leon. All props to Leon. But Kamaru's never been the same since. They did that thing where they turned the old man around right away, and they did an immediate rematch. Kamaru couldn't wrestle that fight. I mean, it was weird. I don't know if somebody got in his ear and told him he needed to be out there striking, or if his knees had just gotten so bad that he couldn't handle the takedowns. But he looked like a shell of himself just months after having dominated that man on the mat. And then against Khamzat, he looked a little old. He looked a little slow. He put up a damn good fight. Khamzat faded down the stretch, and Kamaru, to his credit, deep in the later rounds of that one, it was a 15-minute fight, I believe. He looked pretty good towards the end of that fight. Khamzat, I worry about his gas tank. Different story. Joaquin Buckley's on another level right now, man. Joaquin Buckley is putting it all together right now. He is in his prime. He really kind of pulled a Gilbert Burns here, where he has absorbed the ability to wrestle. His last couple of fights, D1 Buckley's been a thing. He's been in the gym. He's been working. He's been grinding. He's short. He is squat. He is very difficult to get under his hips because of that stature. He wings absolute nuclear missiles. Those hooks, those hands he's got there are phenomenal. And he's coming off of a back-to-back legend TKO streak here, man. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Colby Covington in back-to-back fights. This is a massive step up in competition. And I kind of think Buckley can win this. I don't like the number here, just because I think there's a certain level of respect that you've got to have for what Kamaru Usman is capable of doing. But this is a young man's game. I feel like the game has passed Kamaru Usman, and I feel like Buckley is the future. So I'm going to go ahead and say Buckley wins this fight. I would love it if he just TKO'd a third old man in a row. If he got a knockout over Usman, man, that would be serious. Like, he would have a legitimate jump whoever else is in the conversation type of situation for the belt if he got a third KO over the top 3 this weight class had just the last generation of fighters. So for me, it's Buckley. What do you got here, Dan?
Hey man, that stand-up in the Leon fight was karma for the ref separating Damian Maia when he took Kamaru's back. Like what? So it is what it is. It all evens itself out in the end. But I 100% agree with you. I mean, he hasn't been the same since the head kick. How can you be the same? Since a head kick. But it's interesting. Buckley's actually been knocked out more times than Usman, and he's been knocked out with a head kick too. But man, he wasn't out for like 5 minutes straight, like Usman was. Man, that Usman KO was so bad. And like you said, he just hasn't come back the same. The rematch against Leon, I thought was way too soon after the first title fight. And then the Khamzat fight, there's this like misconception that Usman arguably won or it should have been a draw. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about, dude? I think people have like this aura of invincibility with Khamzat to where if like Khamzat eats a punch or wow, Khamzat got a takedown stuffed. Wow, he's no longer like a superhero. He just got exposed. It's like, bro, he's a human being. Like this is fighting we're watching. And I've never seen someone just take Usman down and back mount him like Khamzat did. I mean, you could say Jose Caceres back in the day, but I'm saying UFC wise. And you could say Damian Maia, but he got separated by the ref. So shout out Khamzat for doing something that no one had truly done up until that point. And now it's been since 2023, since Usman's fought. It's been since 2021, since Usman's won. And it's not like he's getting some kid who's like 2-0 in the UFC, who's like 6-0 overall. He's not. He's getting a guy who had a run at middleweight, who's now on a legend slaying tour at 170, walked through Luque, got through Wonder Boy, destroyed Colby Covington, despite any bullshit Colby will say.
That was fun.
Now he's earned this opportunity. It's not like he's just getting gifted a chance to fight Usman. He's done everything necessary. He crushed the grapes. And Saturday night, live at the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, Joaquin Buckley is going to drink the wine. I got Joaquin Buckley to come out here, be too fast, be too slick. His takedown defense is going to be too good. And I think that his movement's going to be too much for the stiff Usman. I think that the rumors about Usman walking down the stairs backwards are true. I mean, it's been very credible sources that have mentioned that. And yeah, don't be surprised if you see Buckley do something serious here. Now, my concern is the deeper the fight goes, not that there's any kind of cardio concern with Buckley whatsoever. I don't think that at all. I just more so think that Usman is very, very experienced in the championship rounds, and that's not something that you can scoff at all. And then Buckley's also been KO'd like 4 times. So you just have to bring that stuff up, especially when you're laying, like minus 250. All that being said, I think the Slaying Legends World Tour continues Saturday night. And like I said, Buckley, you crush the grapes Saturday night. You drink the wine. Let's go Buckley to get this dub.
I would love to see it, man. I would love to see the knockout. I agree with you. I think he's going to be too fast. And even if he's a little smaller, like you said, Usman's stiffness, that's going to be a problem, man. I think he's going to have a hard time getting out of the way of those hands.
Like that is smaller, like in terms of like he's shorter, but he's not smaller in terms of like mass. Like he fought at 85s, you know what I mean? He fought Nasser into a decision, even like was doing good late in that fight.
Absolutely. No, he's a legitimate contender. I never thought I'd see the day, if I'm being honest. I did not think he was going to be this good. Turns out he is. So happy to see it, man. He's good on the microphone too. I like when he gets up there and talks. He knows how to stir shit up. Didier, shout out my guy. Thank you very much for the dono. Says 2 of my favorite gambling podcasters. Feel for you, Clint, for the bad night last event. Thank you, my friend. We will just erase that memory with a big dub here this week. You guys, as of this point, I have no action on this card because, coming off the week that I had last week, I didn't want to dive feet first into anything here this week, but I'll be completely honest with you. I am highly considering anchoring Mansur Abdul-Malik. How else do you get back on track than with the anchor parlay system, right? And I just fading Cody Brundage at this point sounds like a good time. So that's kind of what's running through my head here at the moment. But I like some of the favorites. We broke down this entire card for you. Hopefully you've got all the info you need to make some bets. And of course, I'll be back later this week with the total takedown, Clint's hot props, and the undefeated post weigh-in show. We'll see who makes and misses weight, and we'll see what they do with these fights here, because we got a couple of short notice guys. We got fights falling apart, so we might have some new people to talk about. We'll see what happens, and I'll help you out with all of that on Friday. But my guy Dan, if you have anything you'd like to say, if you've got sponsors, if you've got shows, now is your moment, my guy. Thank you so much for joining me on the pod today, and feel free to let the people know where they can find you and what you got going on.
No, just thank you so much, Clint, for having me. Thank you to all the fans for listening. I truly appreciate it. Just check out my show, Half the Battle, everywhere podcasts are found, the YouTubes, the Spotifys, etc. And I just want to say that you know, we're all in this shit together. I know that we're all going through it, man, whether we're talking about anxiety, whether we're talking about depression, whether we're talking about drinking, whether we're talking about drugs, whatever it is for anybody, just know that you're not alone. And you can reach out to someone like me. You can reach out to someone like Clint, and you can reach out to anyone in this community. We got your back. You're not alone. And enjoy the fights in ATL on Saturday. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Could not have said it better, man. We've built an awesome community here. Make sure you guys are supporting each other. That's what we do. We got each other's backs. And I appreciate you all for having mine this week. Absolutely. You know, you have that low moment when you've got people to help pick you up. That's what it's all about. So thank you guys again from the bottom of my heart. We will see you guys later this week for the rest of the content. And those of you who tune in live, we'll see you next week for the next week's show, because you know they ain't getting rid of us. We'll always be here for you guys. So let's get after it. Good luck this week. Let's roll.